So it's been a while since I made any sort of iPhone 12 comparison, and I figured better now than late than never, whatever the thing is. And I realized I never made a comparison between the iPhone 12 and the OnePlus 8. So your boy has to do it. I have no choice. Now the iPhone 12 and the OnePlus 8 are pretty much brand new devices that came out this year. The OnePlus 8 came out earlier this year, around that April timeframe. The iPhone 12 came out around that October timeframe. So these were definitely not like right next to each other back to back, but they were, within a couple of months. And what's very interesting is that I love both these phones. Both these phones have a lot of highs. So they have some lows, but they kind of cover that same kind of price range. The OnePlus 8 isn't really being sold brand new anymore, at least not from OnePlus. You can get it on Amazon and a couple of other places. The iPhone 12 still is a little bit more expensive, so keep that in mind. And in the used market, even though they've been out for a couple of months, the OnePlus 8 is going to be cheaper in the used market than the iPhone 12, but I will find the cheapest ones of both these, link them down in the description below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now looking on the fronts of both these panels, you can definitely see the OnePlus 8 looks like a more, premium device. It definitely looks much more newer. It does have that 6.55-inch Fluid AMOLED display, and as I've said before, this is one of the, strongest suits of OnePlus. They have really good panels for these kind of even more budget tier phones. This isn't like a budget phone by any means, but it's a 1080p panel, which isn't horrible, but it has that 90 Hz refresh rate, which when you combine both those things, it really made this panel feel better than what it was, to be honest. It has that hole punch display, very, very tiny bezels on the top and bottom, but pretty much for the rest of this phone, it feels like a very, very good screen. It looks very good. There is a bit of a curve to the display, whether you like that or not. Me personally, I'm not really a huge fan of it. I like the flat display like we have in the iPhone 12, but regardless, the panel on the OnePlus 8 still looks very, very good, where the iPhone 12 has a smaller 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel. Now, this is, it actually has a higher resolution than the OnePlus 8, and it also has more pixels per inch. So those two things combined may make you think that that panel is better. Now, I will say it may look like a better panel. If you're just looking at the panels, you're not using the phone or anything, you may think the 12 is better, but because it still has that notch that's a little bit outdated, whereas on the OnePlus 8 we have that hole punch design, but on top of that, because we have that 90 Hz refresh rate on the OnePlus 8, and this is kind of a stretch, but the fingerprint sensor in the display on the OnePlus 8 as well, that kind of makes that phone feel more of a premium, more well-rounded device, whereas the iPhone 12 is more or less the same, which is very sad. And for more money, you're kind of getting a stranger phone in a way. It's kind of outdated in terms of the design already. So that was something that really kind of threw me off. So in terms of the front, the OnePlus 8 definitely wins. On the bottom, USB Type-C port on the OnePlus 8, Lightning port on the iPhone 12, and on the back, glass backs on both. But I will tell you, the OnePlus 8's frosted glass back definitely is a much better glass back than the iPhone 12's standard glass back. So that's another pretty big thing to keep in mind as well. You're going to feel like you have a little bit more of a premium feeling phone on the OnePlus 8 than on the iPhone 12, which is pretty interesting because the iPhone 12 is actually more expensive. So it's very strange that that's the case. Now above these glass backs, we do have the camera sensors, and I'll go ahead and hit on them. On the OnePlus 8, we have a triple camera setup. We have a 48 megapixel wide angle lens, a 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor, then a 2 megapixel macro lens. With the iPhone 12, we have a dual camera setup, a 12 megapixel wide, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide sensor. Now some people may already assume that the OnePlus 8's camera is better here because it has more camera sensors, but that isn't necessarily the case. Just because it has more cameras doesn't mean it's better, especially in this case because that extra camera sensor is a macro lens. It doesn't really add too much, if I'm being completely honest. Now, features wise, they both have 4K 60 and everything, but I've always said that Android has more features built in. You can pick any Android phone within the last 2 years. Those phones will have more features built into their cameras than pretty much any iPhone that's ever been made, which is very sad because, iPhones have pretty good cameras all around. But in this case, the OnePlus 8 still has, a little bit less of a camera quality in my opinion than the iPhone 12. You're still getting a pretty good camera quality from the OnePlus 8. You can do 4K 60 and everything on that camera, which is actually pretty good. The iPhone 12 has the same thing going on. But like I said, the features built into the OnePlus 8 really adds a little bit more character, like I stated. Now on the iPhone 12 though, videos and everything look really, really good. 4K at 60 here too. And it's just consistent. You know what you're getting into. The audio quality is really good. And there haven't really been too many complaints on my end with this specific camera of this year. I just don't think it's an insane, improvement from last year. But I think between these two, the OnePlus 8 still has a great camera, but it's just not quite as good as the iPhone 12s. But on top of that, the front camera, it just doesn't really compete. You can only do 1080p on the front of the OnePlus 8, where you can do full 4K at 60 on the iPhone 12. So that's another huge advantage that you have on the iPhone 12 over the OnePlus 8. So in terms of the camera department, it just has to go for the iPhone 12 just because of the video features and everything like that. But like I said, the raw features and photo and everything probably go to the OnePlus 8. Now in terms of software, luckily both these things are pretty stock. Nothing's going to really change there. OnePlus 8 has kind of shifted away from that a little bit on One UI. They're kind of taking a hint from Samsung on One UI. I don't know what they're doing. So I'm not really looking forward to Oxygen OS, the next version. But regardless, both these are very stock. They're going to be supported for quite a bit of time, respectively. But the iPhone 12 is going to outlast the OnePlus 8 for sure. You're going to be getting a much longer software supporting phone from the iPhone 12 than the OnePlus 8. So keep that in mind. If you're trying to keep a phone for as long as possible, the iPhone 12 is probably a better way to go. But the OnePlus 8 is still a beautiful phone for sure when it comes down to the software. Now, performance-wise, this isn't really a crazy big difference. This is probably where the least amount of difference is. The OnePlus 8 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, an Adreno 650 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM on that base model, and 12 gigs of RAM on that top tier model, where the iPhone 12 has the Apple A14 Bionic chip and 4 gigs of RAM on each model. So you are getting more RAM on the OnePlus 8, so keep that in mind. But it's not really apples to apples. I feel like ever since iOS 14.3 came out, it has actually improved the iPhone experience overall, and it's really fixed a lot of problems I had with my iPhone 12. Now with the OnePlus 8's performance, I will tell you, it's pretty good. It's probably one of the better ones this year. It's very smooth, has everything going for it, and there's just not that much to complain about. Now, is it perfect? As I said before, absolutely not. There's a lot of things to complain about this year. I feel like it's a little stuttery, but I'll be honest, it's not a bad experience. It just seems like all phones this year kind of suffer the same problem, including iPhones, including OnePluses, is that they're not insanely big improvements from last year. If you look at the OnePlus 7 and you compare it, or if you look at the OnePlus 7T or something and you compare it to the OnePlus 8, not really that big of a difference. If you compare the iPhone, 11 Pro to the iPhone 12 Pro or iPhone 11 to the iPhone 12, there's not really that big of a difference. So between these two, you're not going to really see that big of a difference either, surprisingly. So if you're getting the iPhone 12, if you're getting the OnePlus 8, I feel like the performance is going to be one of those things that isn't really that big of a difference between them, if I'm being honest. I feel like the OnePlus 8 is a very, very good performing phone. It's very smooth. Anything I did with it was perfectly fine. I couldn't find problems with it, but I pretty much find the same thing with the iPhone 12. So in this day and age, I don't think you're going to find those many differences between the performance of both these. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up. Now ending it off with the battery life, the OnePlus 8 has that 4300 mAh battery inside of it, where the iPhone 12 has that 2815 mAh battery inside of it. So again, a little bit of a difference here, not the end of the world, but I will tell you, I think the OnePlus 8 may have the advantage here for sheer raw battery life, but I feel like the iPhone 12 actually wins a little bit more because it does have wireless charging. The OnePlus 8 does not have any wireless charging, which is pretty insane. We are in 2020, about to go into 2021, and these phones are, still being sold without wireless charging. It's super insane to me, but I would probably say raw battery life goes to the, OnePlus 8, but the iPhone 12 probably gets it for the battery features and everything combined. So to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, which specific phone should you go and pick up? Well, let me tell you some pros and cons for the OnePlus 8. I think for the price of this phone, because it is cheaper than the iPhone 12, it does kind of make it that much better of a phone overall. It's not crazy expensive. I'm sure you can pick them up for less than $600 in a couple places. It's extremely future-proof. You're getting software updates for a long time. The software itself is really good. Performance is still really amazing. It's just one of the better performing phones this year. The 90 Hz refresh rate is really nice, and the panel itself is really good as well. And this phone feels like a super duper flagship phone. It doesn't feel cheap at all. But the iPhone 12, on the other hand, is still being sold brand new, so you can pretty much pick it up wherever you want to. It's very easy to pick up. It has a pretty good screen as well, really good build quality, but the OnePlus 8 is better. The performance is very smooth. It's not stuttery. It's not anything like that. It's a very smooth performing phone. You do get IP certification on the iPhone 12, where you don't get any IP certification on the OnePlus 8, which kind of sucks, I'll be honest. No wireless charging on the OnePlus 8, but the iPhone 12 also has it, so that's another big deal for that phone. And you're also getting a longer software supported phone from the iPhone 12 than the OnePlus 8. So that's another pretty big thing that you have going for that specific case. So I'll tell you, if I had to pick one, I would probably end up picking up the iPhone 12 just because I feel like that's the more well-rounded phone. But I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these. And the OnePlus 8 is a very solid phone as well. So in terms of everything, that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.